It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. There's a fantastic meteorologist, Lee Southwick. Lee, we got plenty to talk about today, but number one
Right.
thing is the moon, right?
Yeah, we are still not over Artemis.
Mm.
Not yet. We're going to continue to talk about this, and that's going to be our number one topic here. But lots of things going on. I mean, we know if you're tuning in too, we know it's gross outside too. We're going
Mm.
to talk a little bit about that and maybe even Enzo.
And so El Nino and how that's going to impact our hurricane season. I know CSU this coming weekend, that's Colorado State University, they release their hurricane numbers every year. Based on everything I see right now, it could be some good news, but you always have to take the good with the bad, and we'll talk
Right.
about what that means
Right.
as well. But first, let's talk a little moon because, of course, Artemis is out there. It just did its lunar flyby, and now they're on their way back home. But pretty incredible stuff here, Lee. And I know we got a couple of videos, so if you find a good spot you think we should kind of toss to those, just let me know. But I want to share this here, Lee. This is incredible. This was just released by NASA a few minutes ago. This is what they're titling Moon Set, or excuse me, Earth Set. And it's reminiscent of Earthrise from 1968, very famous photo from the Apollo 8 astronauts 58 years ago, where they were the first people to go around the moon, and they talked about how they were on the far side. And as they came around, they're of course focused on the moon, and then they looked off in the distance, and they were like, "That's beautiful."
So cool.
Is
It is beautiful. I mean, these astronauts now too, they've gone even farther. Apollo 13, they had to go around the moon. They didn't that was not the plan. It was in order to save their lives and
Yeah,
get into orbit to slingshot themselves back to Earth.
because a lot of people have been asking me, like, not a lot, a few people have asked me, why is it Apollo 13 had the
Mm.
previous record? It's because they didn't land on the moon, so they didn't get in that low moon orbit. They kind of just gravity assisted and in uncontrolled, just get around the moon and get back to Earth as quickly as possible.
Because their oxygen tank blew. So
Hmm.
they had to like reroute and rethink how are we going to save our lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the quote like failure is not an option came from. Like we're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
figure this out. We're gonna
Mm.
get ourselves back.
Which and it was a successful unsuccessful moon flyby.
It was. But these
These
astronauts
guys.
went 4,100 miles further out
Hmm.
from the moon, so further away from Earth, I should say, and then came back around. And something else I think was interesting too that I saw recently that I didn't realize, but of course people wouldn't realize or think about this. When you showed the path that they took,
Yeah.
they didn't just see the moon and then go towards it and go around it. Don't forget that the moon is constantly orbiting Earth.
Yeah.
So here, like when they leave Earth, the moon could have been all the way over here, and they start going that way, away from the moon, because they were catching it perfectly when it came back around
Yeah.
to go around it.
Think
And
of
some
it
people
like
just think, oh, wait, see the moon? Go to the moon.
if
Like, no.
if you're coming up to an intersection in your car and you're driving towards the intersection, and another car is coming from a right angle on the other road towards the intersection. That car is not stationary. They're driving as well. So you have to time it. And let's say you're at a four-way and there's no stop signs.
perfect.
You're just trying to time it out where you're not gonna like hit them, but you're gonna pass them just at the right time. That's orbital physics as well. It's pretty incredible. Everything's not stationary in space, despite what the conspiracy theorists say.
Correct.
We're all moving around, and it's
Everything's
pretty incredible.
moving. It is pretty incredible. And so I just love our science and our exact math to be able to catch it and orbit it perfectly, swing so far out on the other side, lose connection with them, regain it, easy, no problem.
It's so
Now they're on
cool.
their way back.
So we have some videos, right, from NASA here?
We do. We have well, it's two packages from
Mhm.
NBC. One of the packages is just kind of debriefing their mission around the far side of the moon, and the other one is cool. So Victor J. Glover, the pilot, his dad was talking about what it's like to look at the moon and see your son. Or you're not really seeing, but no, your son is out there on the other side of the moon. So just some cool
Wow.
perspectives if we want to take a listen to those.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this one on the debrief first here. Just talking about, because this is them coming out the backside of it. So let's talk about what they experienced as they went around the moon here.
The crew of Artemis II homeward bound this morning after a record-setting lap around the moon. The astronauts also beaming back never-before-seen snapshots from space.
There's a nice crater right at the South Pole.
Getting a total view of the far side of the moon. And then a total solar eclipse. The sun disappearing behind the moon for 53 minutes.
We just went sci-fi. This has, it just looks unreal.
The crew also getting a call from the president.
You really are modern-day pioneers, all of you.
The astronauts spent the 7-hour lunar flyby training their cameras on a very long list of pre-selected targets, including the massive Oriental Basin, called the Grand Canyon of the Moon.
The mountain chains that form its eastern side are very prominent.
And the Terminator, the Stark Line, where light meets dark.
It is just like impossibly rugged.
Orion flying farther into space than the Apollo 13 crew did more than half a century ago.
Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier.
Then a moving moment as the crew proposed naming 2 newly identified craters Integrity after their ship, and another after Commander Reed Weissman's late wife, who died of cancer in 2020.
Her name was Carol. The spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie.
The crew visibly emotional, wiping tears and hugging. Weissman blowing kisses and throwing a heart back to his 2 daughters, who were watching in mission control, along with pilot Victor Glover's wife.
Hey, babe. I love you from the moon.
For 40 minutes behind the moon, a planned loss of radio contact before emerging from the backside to a new Earthrise and charting a course for home.
We will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other.
So cool.
I love
so
it.
emotional about Carol.
And you also mentioned Victor Glover's father here. And you imagine, like, I got my son, and of course we both have a dad. Most people do, but like, your father often brags about you. Imagine if your like son was going to the moon. You think people would believe, like, oh yeah, you'd win every barbecue. You'd be like, oh, my son's becoming a doctor. Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Well.
And he was already impressive enough with his time in the military, but now he's like,
and also he's been to the ISS. He's already been to space.
Yes, he's already been to space, but now you're like, let me just level up. All the other dads are like, man, we have nothing.
Leveling, like you just don't invite the guy because you're like, oh God.
I would invite the guy just for proximity to be like, yeah, I know the father of Victor Glover.
I'm friends with him.
Yeah.
On that note, we got another video we're going to talk about with interview with, his father, and about like just the emotions and going through this whole steps and everything of your son going to the moon. So check this out.
You're getting your first live look at Orion, the moon, and the Earth.
While the world watches history being made in space, here in Prosper, it's a father watching his son.
My chest is already out to the moon. My chest was out there before they ever got there.
Victor Glover Jr. is now part of a mission, traveling farther from Earth than any crew ever, pushing past Apollo-era distances.
Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier.
Then, just before 6 p.m., Artemis II disappeared behind the moon. And just before communication was lost, Glover sent a message connecting Earth to one of the most distant human journeys ever.
And to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Houston copies. We'll see you on the other side.
After 40 minutes of no contact, the hardest part for Victor Glover's dad,
That can be nerve-wracking.
We are getting our first views.
Artemis II emerged.
And it is so great to hear from Earth again.
And the journey home officially began.
It's a very, very, very exciting time and very surreal. It's just, I'm always pinching myself.
Victor Glover Sr. watched his son rise into the sky in Florida just 5 days ago. And now he's watching him travel farther than any human in decades.
It is still very, very surreal. But when I see him put that big smile on his face, that's where I get the comfort from, knowing that he's enjoying the ride.
With Artemis II now on its way home, a proud dad here in North Texas is watching every mile.
Proud dad. I love it.
Absolutely.
What would you be scared if your son was like, I'm actually gonna go to the far side of the moon?
I would trust him. I would be super proud though. I would be more nervous of me doing it than him. Like, because he wants to become a pilot. He's already flown a plane a few times with a person there with him. And like,
awesome.
I would be nervous, but he's super cool and collected.
Cool.
And I think
Yeah.
like I'm sure his father is the same way. Like, just, you know what? He's got this.
He does. Oh, that's awesome.
Super proud moment there. Just on the still on Artemis here, some of the biggest images from this, and not just been the moon, but looking back at it, it always kind of puts you in perspective. But one of the things, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. There's a lot of people saying why and what. So I want to address one. I got my toy in here.
Take Robert full screen. Here we go.
There we go. So, like, this image right here, a lot of people have been asking me, how did they get this? This has to be CGI. Because you have the capsule in the foreground. What's going on? And people don't realize there's the solar arrays. So what they do is they put a little GoPro on the end of one of the solar arrays, and you can look back at the capsule.
Is it a
Pretty
GoPro?
simple. It is literally a GoPro.
It's a GoPro.
Yeah,
That's
at least
awesome.
that's what on the NASA feed they said. They said, here's a view from our GoPro cameras on the so they
Well, that's great marketing for them.
right? Like, I guess so. Like, hey, GoPro, not only good underwater, I guess. But yeah, the other thing with the capsule, you know how big this thing is? Well, first off, it's bigger than the Apollo missions, right?
Thank goodness, but
Thank
still not
goodness.
very big.
4 people, about the size of 2 minivans for 10 days.
Yeah, no.
So there's that. That includes where you eat, where you sleep, where you
Go to the bathroom?
you do your business. The bathroom has broke twice.
Shout out, was it Christina Cook?
Christina, space plumber.
The space plumber.
Space plumber. I'm going to put that on my resume for the rest of my life if I was
You
her.
would do that,
Like,
yeah.
right above, went to the moon, space plumber.
Astronaut space plumber.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to need those if they build the moon base. Like, you're going to need space plumbers.
Easy job. You know, everybody's talking about those trade jobs are always the ones you got to go for. Yeah, but pretty incredible stuff. And we're going to keep you posted on the Artemis mission all the way until splashdown and afterwards.
Because then we got Artemis 3, 4, 5.
And
and
according to NASA, we're supposed to have these in rapid succession. I say supposed to. I'm optimistically pessimistic.
We know that things get delayed and delayed. And,
Yes.
you know, this was supposed to launch in February and it launched in April.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, they wouldn't be launching today.
No.
Today is messy
Ugh.
around the first coast, including down there towards Cape Canaveral, Titusville. We need the rain, though.
We do. So this is great. It's beneficial. It's not going to be a drought buster,
Mm.
but it is going to be beneficial.
You know where I think it might be a drought buster is South Florida, though.
South Florida's about to get a lot of rain.
They're going to get inches of rain, and I think that's really going to help out. Not so much the first coast, Jacksonville area, but
because I know. So Mike Prangley was just looking into this. He just told me with what he was calculating, we need 8 inches of rain by September to bust the drought in our area. So I don't know what they need in South Florida and how much rain exactly they'll get. We'll have to wait and see. But at least for us, this is probably going to be half an inch to an inch of rain.
We need this prolonged. Check this out, though. This doesn't include the rain we got yesterday and the day prior. So we're going from August 25th to April 4th. And a specific time period from the end of hurricane season where we didn't really have any tropical systems and it was very dry all the way through this winter. We are going back to the start of records, 1870s. By far the driest we have ever been. So this isn't just subjective for Jacksonville in the first coast. This is data-centric information here where we are just in this severe drought right now. So we need the rain.
We do. And you know what? If I can give a little tease, I'm probably not going to have, it's so hard. tropical systems, maybe like a nice tropical depression or tropical storm, really helps with droughts. Doesn't look as likely this year.
And we'll get to that in a second. But right now, in the near term, we do have this onshore flow, solid little nor'easter set up here with a front that moved through yesterday. Now it's setting up just towards our south, high pressure towards the north, squeezing, and it's raining. Windy. Not a good beach day.
No, not a beach week. Maybe by Friday, things getting better. But gusts up to 45 miles an hour out by the beaches. That sand, you don't want to go to the beach. I mean, some people might want to go to the beach to look at the waves. I mean, we could have breakers of 13
Jackson, can you throw up our
feet?
beach cam real quick while we're talking here?
And is it 13? Am I remembering that correctly? I think it seas to 17 and
Yeah.
breakers of 13.
Offshore, easy 10 plus.
Ooh, yeah.
13 to 15.
So look at that. So, but if you wanted to be like, oh, I want to go look at the waves. Well, the wind, 45 mile per hour winds, that's going to exfoliate your skin. That is going to sting when that sand hits you because of those gusts of 45.
And surfers, like, there's no surfers out there. It's a washing machine.
Yeah.
It's just not pleasant. You want a good light offshore wind, maybe long period swells. This is rip. But just nasty, just messy weather. And you can see the winds are going to continue to pick up as we go ahead through Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Easily gusting 30 plus out there on the coast. We could see some winds offshore, 40 plus. It is just not pleasant. And then, like I mentioned, this is just your classic springtime nor'easter. As long as we have that onshore wind, though, the cloud cover is still going to be there, light rain, and also rip currents. That's a big issue.
Is this updated for today? That looks like what I did yesterday morning, which was a lot calmer seas. Surf for only 4 to 5.
It's worse than this, guys.
It is, yeah.
It's worse.
So those seas, the surf is a lot higher. Those seas a lot higher right now. Those winds stronger.
But the big thing I want you to take away from this graphic is the rip currents. And we do have a little video here as well talking about the risk of rip currents.
And the rip currents that South Florida has really been dealing with. And unfortunately, a father passed away when rescuing his 2 kids due to a rip current. Like, guys, just please do not swim when there's a high risk of rip currents. But yeah, let's take a listen.
What were the conditions like out there?
It was brutal. It was rough.
A dangerous weekend along Fort Lauderdale beaches with dozens of rescues as strong rip currents move throughout the area.
Definitely not ideal. Do not recommend.
Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue responding to 34 rescues Saturday across 18 incidents and 20 more Sunday in 7 incidents.
It kind of looked like some kids were in distress. Some of the other, even the adults, was not very comfortable.
Check out this map. The National Weather Service placing much of South Florida under high rip current risk, with red flags lining beaches in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Some say changing tides made conditions even more dangerous.
With high tides, it has a way of dragging you in. I was in the Navy for a few years, and the water, the ocean, especially the waves, it's nothing to play with.
In at least one case, beachgoers jumped in to help.
We surfaced from our dive. We did witness a rescue. Somebody got caught in a rip current.
And a warning from those who saw it firsthand.
There's quite a few people out in the waves, especially like probably about 100 yards offshore. They were getting caught in the currents. I don't know if they were snorkeling or if they were just, out there having a good time. But if they're not below the waves to where you can get out of that rip current, you should probably stay out. Absolutely.
I can see why people will get in that because the weather looks nice. And that's why it's like those silent, deadly risk there in the water. But at least with this week, I don't think anyone really wants to get out to the beach with the wind and the rain,
and
too.
I would prefer from a pure just, warning and our job perspective, not so much of actually wanting to go to the beach. I would prefer the weather like this where it is windy and rainy versus a sunny, beautiful day. But there's rip currents because that's where people get misled and they run out there into the water and then they get caught off guard. And at least the next few days, we're going to continue to see this. Also, if you plan on going golfing or anything like that, our baseball team, our softball team, First Coast News yesterday, it was windy out there and you could see some of our slow pitch softballs. They kept going.
Man.
That was our excuse.
Yep, that's a great excuse.
But I mean, you hit a pop fly and then you can see the ball kind of drifting. The wind is definitely going, and we've got several days of the rain that's coming with it as well. well. Not drought buster, but you can kind of see that the further south you go, the heavier those chances are going to be out there.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at our 7-day outlook. Here you go. This is for Jacksonville, the first coast, Tuesday heading to Wednesday, weather impact alert because of the rain. You looking forward towards the weekend though?
I am so looking forward to the weekend. Let's have those winds drop back a bit, a little bit more sunshine, warmer weather. Good timing with this. The weekend weather was good. The work week weather, bleh. But the fact that we're getting good again over the weekend, at least with the timing, I like this.
Blast, a technical phrase.
This week is
I usually
bleh.
go with meh.
Meh.
Meh. Bleh.
Gross. Bleh.
Everybody understands it though.
It's like right now, if I have to go outside, I don't. But like if I have to go outside to get lunch, like a lot of you may be doing that, I'd go, bleh. Like, I don't want to walk out to that
It's
the car in that.
understandable. That's what we're here for. Hey, so let's talk about ENSO.
Let's do it.
We were mentioning the hurricane season, looking ahead. The new numbers for the tropical outlook should be coming up in this coming weekend into next week as well from NOAA.
So we're almost 50 days away.
Well, 53?
4?
I believe.
54?
Yeah. It was 56 on Sunday, so that would be 54 today. Today's Tuesday. I did math. Yay.
Good for you.
I'm proud of myself. So last year we were in a La Nina. We are currently in a neutral stage, and then we have what is being called a super El Nino. I don't know what the definition of it is, but a very strong El Nino is going to be coming up. This is going to have impacts, of course, on our tropical systems and our weather here on the first coast. Next winter, I think we're going to be having a lot more of these days like today here, Lee.
Or even with the severe weather threat when it comes to a La Nina, it's not only like today, but it's stronger cold fronts. So where you're sunnier, drier, warmer in the morning time, front comes through. You had all that warm fuel, that sunshine early. Tornadoes are spawning across.
That's
that
what's
line.
an El Nino.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
with El Nino, which is what we're going to have. So
Yeah.
it's like also not just days like today, but like that severe weather risk comes from those stronger cold fronts and those bigger clashes of air masses and just more unsettled weather. And so, the perk is, hey, maybe a quieter hurricane season.
Yeah.
But maybe a more active severe weather fall and winter season.
One of the reasons for that is you get the warmer ocean in the eastern Pacific, and all this ties together. Global weather is really important, but that helps increase shear across the Atlantic. You get the jet stream dipping down further, and it actually tears storm apart out there. Doesn't mean you get zero storms. They definitely can still happen. Most storms tend to steer a little bit further towards the north. They remain relatively weak in the main formation area. This is actually a fantastic graphic Lee made 3 years ago,
Back in 2023?
2023, where we had 20 named storms during an El Nino year. Now, that was a bit of an anomaly, but on average, we have 14 named storms a year. And you can see most years where we have an El Nino, we see at or below average named storm systems.
So 2023 specifically, that was the year we were watching the Atlantic waters were the hottest we had ever seen.
Yes.
So we were watching the battle between the wind shear with El Nino and the warm waters, and the warm waters really won out that year in 2023.
Yeah.
As of right now, the waters don't look as hot.
That's a plus. And just with a changing climate, this is, the other thing about 2023 is we had some big storms, so even if we have wind shear, let's say the wind shear lacks a little bit, sometimes you can get a couple storms that do pop off inside of that.
Mhm.
And always remember, it only takes one. We always
Right.
say that. It's a very generic thing to say, but we truly, truly mean it.
And it doesn't mean that El Nino there's going to be none, because look right there, there's not a year with zero.
Yeah.
Like there are going to be some. Just
Yeah.
hopefully it's more like a numbers game, just not as many, so our odds of being hit are lower. However, someone gets hit, it only takes one.
Yeah, and this is just a purely numbers thing. Now, more than likely in an El Nino year, they tend to steer towards the east of Florida, but that's not always the case. It's just a tendency in climatology. So I am interested to see what the numbers from Dr. Phil Klotzbach is going to be coming out here this coming weekend out there at CSU. He releases them every year. He's very good, well respected in the meteorology community. The hints right now probably at or below average with the outlook. But we'll see. But right now, I think that's the general consensus with tropical season. But we're coming up almost on 50 days out at least at this time. So
2023, I just had to look it up. I want to make sure it's correct. It was a Dahlia.
a
So we did
Dahlia.
work
Oh,
that like
yeah.
at
It was a Gulf of
it
Mexico
was
storm.
Gulf. Yep, they came through. So Southeast Georgia's like, yeah, we know, we remember. But yeah, that was the Dahlia year.
Well, that's all for today. We got plenty to get through. Artemis still out there. Of course, your local forecast and nor'easter. At 4:30, we're going to be back here live and Weather Impact Live. And I do believe Ross Muma is going to be out in the Protector as well. So get to see him out there, probably hanging out at the beach or something with the wind.
Yeah, I think he's going south towards St. Augustine as well. See some of the beach erosion, some of the strong
Hopefully
winds,
there's no
some of that
tidal
rain.
flooding. That wind coming on
So I think they're
shore.
going to watch for. So we'll have that update at 4:30 today.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Stay dry.
Yeah.